The humans are too arrogant. Our heavenly court protected them and slaughtered demons and devils for them. We even adjusted the weather to alleviate disasters. And they're actually treating us like this. That's right. When the demon court attacked the humans, wasn't it our heavenly court who saved them? Such ingrates. With the support of a sage, they want to go against the immortal gods? Our heavenly court is an orthodox sect. How can we be afraid of a sage? That's right, we can also seek the support of a sage. The immortals discussed and united against a common enemy. Fang Liang was originally a human and did not want to see humans and immortals become mortal enemies. But now, he had to make a choice. Perhaps this was the immeasurable calamity. It was not only a battle, but also a choice between life and death, Tao, and righteousness. Fang Liang's eyes gradually became firm. He raised his hand to signal everyone to be quiet. All the immortals looked at him. Fang Liang said, "Prepare to declare war on the humans." Since the immeasurable calamity wants humans to fight with gods, the heavenly court can't retreat. We can only fight. The immortals agreed. Even if the heavenly court declined, the bottom line of immortals was not something mortals could touch. 15 years later, Hanju was still absorbing the negative karma in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus when 4 lines of words suddenly appeared in front of him. Detected that the battle for providence in the immeasurable calamity is about to begin. You have the following choices. 1. Join the human race and kill gods and immortals. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a mystical power inheritance. 2. Join the heavenly court and show off your might. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a random natural treasure. 3. Cultivate in a low-profile manner and stay away from trouble. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a supreme treasure. Hanju was stunned. The battle for providence had begun? Could it be that the final battle of this calamity was the battle between the humans and the heavenly court? Wait! Could it be that fate had arrived? The more Hanju thought about it, the more he shivered. If all of this was destined, then the demon court, the divine palace, the Buddhist sect, the Golden Crow divine clan, the dragon court, and the underworld were all cannon fodder? Hanju immediately chose the third option. His chapter is updat D by NOVE, E, L, by and Kao M. Congratulations on obtaining a great Tao fragment and a supreme treasure. Constitution Mystic Boots, Zenith Heaven Supreme Treasure, a supreme treasure derived from chaotic chi. It can ignore the power of rules and move freely. It has a restriction to resist the divine sense attack of a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. This treasure was not bad. He had also accumulated 6 great Tao fragments. Hanju took out the Constitution Mystic Boots and started to make it recognize him as its owner. His thoughts drifted. The master of the heavenly court was his grand disciple, Fang Liang. The future human emperor of the human race was Xing Hongshen. Both leaders were his. Unknowingly, Hanju was so powerful. He stopped and looked back. He couldn't help but feel as if he was in a dream. Back then, he only wanted to have more ways to survive by taking in disciples. He didn't expect to reach this point step by step. I really became the Dark Forbidden Lord, Hanju muttered and smiled helplessly. However, he did not regret it. So what if he was the Dark Forbidden Lord? As long as he could continue living and pursue the Great Tao, he was willing to be the Dark Forbidden Lord. Of course, he could only admit it verbally. Too many dogs had framed their sins on the Dark Forbidden Lord. It was simply shameless. Even today, there were still many people in the immortal world cursing the enemy. Many of Hanju's good friends were cursed by a mysterious curse, including Fang Liang, Ji Xianshen, Zhou Fan, and others. He had to survive this calamity first. The next morning, Hanju put on the Constitution Mystic Boots and used the Dark Nightmare to send a dream to Xing Hongshen. In the dream, the two of them were alone in the forest. Hanju sat beside her and said softly, "The true calamity has arrived." This time, the protagonists of the calamity are the humans and the heavenly court. One of them will definitely win. You have to be careful. Xing Hongshan nodded. Don't worry. I won't participate if I can. Hanju asked, who do you think will win? I'm not sure. I don't understand the heavenly court, but the human elders are full of confidence. I saw that sage's avatar. He's indeed powerful. Just looking at him makes me inexplicably nervous. Xing Hongshan sighed upon the mention of Fuxishan. Sages were too distant from her. In the past, she had thought that sages were only cultivators with stronger dermic powers. Only when she saw Fuxishan did she realize that this was not the case. Facing a sage, she couldn't even be rebellious or profane. Her soul trembled in front of him. Hanju secretly guessed that the heavenly court would also have the help of a sage. Otherwise, they would definitely be defeated and might not even be able to achieve the cleansing effect that the heavenly Tao expected. In Hanju's opinion, the so-called calamity was a reshuffling of the heavens. When the number of lives reached the limit, the heavenly Tao's providence would change, attracting all living beings to fight and return peace to the world. Xing Hongshan asked curiously, Husband, will you support the heavenly court? She had heard that the current heavenly emperor was Fang Liang. She had seen Fang Liang's potential before. Hanju also had a good relationship with the heavenly emperor. It was impossible for their names to be coincidental. They had to be the same person. Hanju said expressionlessly, I don't support anyone. Xing Hongshan smiled. As expected of you. Why did this sound wrong? Xing Hongshan didn't continue on this topic. Instead, she began to talk about her experiences during this period of time. Apart from cultivation, she had also followed the humans and fought everywhere. More and more ancient races had been attacked by humans. In the battles, the cultivation of the human prodigies had constantly increased. It was extremely miraculous. Xing Hongshan guessed that it was done by a sage, while Hanju thought that it was caused by the calamity. In the calamity, breaking through in cultivation was faster than during peaceful times. Unconsciously, the heavenly Tao was pushing everything. Xing Hongshan continued to talk, and Hanju spent most of the time listening. This dream lasted for a long time. After returning to reality, Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and started cursing Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had already lost his mind, but there had been no movement recently. He couldn't let down his guard. This fellow was probably recuperating in a corner. He had to take his life when he was down. This time, Hanju cursed with 50 billion years. He would slowly grind him to death. Several days later, Hanju released the strange deity and continued to absorb negative karma. At the same time, under the Fusong tree, everyone surrounded Lu Huaxiu. His body emitted wisps of purple aura and his long hair fluttered. A terrifying and oppressive aura was brewing. What's wrong with him? Sun Chang'an asked curiously. Mu Rongqi narrowed his eyes and said, he's awakening the power of his previous life. This aura, Chu Shuren said firmly, one of the 4 extreme emperors of the heavenly court, the Purple Star Emperor. Mu Rongqi glanced at him, secretly unhappy. Why was this fellow always so talkative? Do you think that only you know? Dao Comprehension Sword asked curiously. Is the Purple Star Emperor very powerful? Chu Shuren said, he's on par with the Heavenly Emperor. You tell me, is he powerful or not? He could sense that a powerful force was awakening in the depths of Lu Huaxiu's soul. The 4 extreme emperors of the heavenly court were all Zenith Heaven existences. Hanju checked Lu Huaxiu's profile picture again. Lu Huaxiu, early stage Grand Unity Earth Immortal Realm, Purple Star Emperor, reincarnation of a Zenith Heaven Emperor. He was once one of the 4 extreme emperors of the heavenly court. He reincarnated with the supreme treasure, the heavenly Tao Purple Emperor Spear. The Purple Emperor Spear is his soul. The two cannot be separated. His talent is powerful. He reached the Grand Unity Earth Immortal Realm in less than 300 years and awakened the Purple Emperor Star Dao fruit. Current favorability, full stars. As the latest disciple, he had already reached the early stage Grand Unity True Immortal Realm. It could be seen how talented the disciples of the hidden sect were. Han Ju wasn't worried when he saw that Lu Huaxu's cultivation level had not changed. Even if Lu Huaxu completely awakened and became a Zenith Heaven Emperor, Han Ju was not afraid. Not to mention that Han Ju was already an expert in the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm. The two Dao Field Guards were no joke. Lu Bu and Ma Chao were two War God Guardians. Han Ju paid attention as he absorbed negative karma. About half a year later, Lu Huaxu woke up. After waking up, he did not seem to have changed. When everyone asked him, he only smiled and did not say anything. After that, his cultivation speed soared, causing everyone to be speechless. After Murongqi and Chu Shuren, another mighty figure awakened. Under Chu Shuren's introduction, everyone knew that Lu Huaxu was one of the Heavenly Court's 4 extreme emperors, the Purple Star Emperor. He was definitely a mighty figure of the myriad worlds. However, with the precedent of the Supreme Buddha, no one would change their attitude towards him. They treated him as in the past, especially the Black Hell Chicken. This fellow had taken the lead in bullying Lu Huaxu. It seemed that the stronger Lu Huaxu's identity was, the more excited it became. Lu Huaxu's rise intensified the internal competition within the hidden sect. In these boring years, there had to be some competition to be interesting. In the dark universe, above the sea of clouds, under the old tree, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was circulating his energy to heal his injuries. His face was extremely pale and he was frowning. At this moment, Great Nine Heavens appeared in front of him. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan did not open his eyes as he snorted. "Why are you looking for me again?" He was filled with hatred towards Great Nine Heavens. Great Nine Heavens said calmly, "The sect master has ordered you to bow down to the Heavenly Emperor and enter the Divine Investiture Board." Jade Emperor Zhou Yan suddenly opened his eyes. He was furious. "What do you mean? You're humiliating me?" He was once the Heavenly Emperor and had suppressed the Heavenly Court. Telling him to become Heavenly Emperor Fang's subordinate was definitely an insult to him. Great Nine Heavens said, "You have already failed. The sages have deduced that the protagonists of this immeasurable calamity are the humans and the immortals. If you want to fight, you can only enter the Heavenly Court and become an immortal god." Jade Emperor Zhou Yan asked, "Why can't I join the human race?" Great Nine Heavens did not answer. His chapter is updat by NOVE, E.L. Bian Ko M. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was extremely angry. He knew that this was the sage's plan. He was only a pawn in the hands of a sage. He had no right to choose. Damn it! Just a little more. If not for the Dark Forbidden Lord, according to his plan, he would have devoured the Heavenly Dao step by step. How would he have ended up like this? The more Jade Emperor Zhou Yan thought about it, the more aggrieved he became. He hated the Dark Forbidden Lord. Great Nine Heavens vanished, leaving behind a sentence. "This is the only path you can take. If you disobey the sect master's will, you should know the consequences." Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was so angry that his chest heaved. He didn't say anything as he gritted his teeth. "You forced me." A black light flashed in Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's eyes. 20 years later, while cultivating, Han Ju cursed Jade Emperor Zhou Yan and checked his emails. "Your good friend Zhou Fan has joined the Heavenly Court and is now an immortal god. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Mo Fuzhou has joined the Heavenly Court and is now an immortal god. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Huang Jihao has joined the Heavenly Court and is now an immortal god. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Han Ming has joined the Heavenly Court and is now an immortal god. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Duan Hongshan has joined the Heavenly Court and is now an immortal god. His providence has increased greatly. Your grand disciple Fang Liang has obtained a primordial divine body. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your Dao companion Xian Qingjun has joined the heavenly court and is now an immortal god. Her providence has increased greatly. Han Zhu's eyes widened. He was almost shocked. What the heck? More than half of his friends had joined the heavenly court? Where did Fang Liang get his appeal from? Han Zhu looked carefully and discovered that Xue Mingdi had led the darkness sect into the heavenly court. The originally weak heavenly court immediately became stronger. Was he taking sides? Han Zhu showed a frown. Could Xue Mingdi be mistaken? Han Zhu immediately sent him a dream. When they met in the dream, Xue Mingdi said excitedly, "Forbidden Lord, you already know?" Han Zhu said, "Yes." Xue Mingdi said, "The protagonists of the calamity are the humans and the heavenly court. You've always supported the heavenly court, so I shouldn't have done anything wrong by leading the darkness sect to join them, right?" Han Zhu was speechless. He didn't expect that heavenly court's greatest backing was him. At this moment, Han Zhu didn't dare to refute. Be it the humans or the heavenly court, both sides had people related to him, so he couldn't help either side. Although Han Zhu was a human, he didn't have a sense of belonging to the humans here. After all, he had only stayed in the Jade Pure Sacred sect his entire life and didn't know many people. "Has anyone contacted you?" Han Zhu asked. Xue Mingdi said, "Yes, the sage asked me in my dreams to enter the heavenly court. It suited me, so I..." With that, he suddenly became nervous. Wait! Would the Forbidden Lord misunderstand him as a traitor? He immediately knelt down in fear and said, "I'm loyal to the Forbidden Lord. As for that sage, I don't even know who he is." Han Zhu asked, "Do you know how many sages there are?" Xue Mingdi thought that Han Zhu was testing him, so he replied, "There are 9 heavenly Dao sages for eternity. However, since ancient times, many mighty figures have transcended the heavenly Dao. I'm not sure how many sages there are in total. The sages all live outside the 33rd heaven or in the deity realm of the ruins of End." Han Zhu asked, "What about Zenith Heaven?" It's difficult to guess the number of Zenith Heaven cultivators. After all, there have been more than 10 immeasurable calamities. Then, do you know about the deity realm of the ruins of End? I know! It's the heavenly Dao's first world in the primordial era. Because of a calamity, a sage took action and shattered the world. The Dao ancestor isolated the primordial heaven and earth and left the various races in the current immortal world. Only mighty figures can go to the deity realm of the ruins of End and stay away from the heavenly Dao's calamity. How much stronger is the deity realm of the ruins of End than the immortal world? It's hard to say, but they're all controlled by sages. Han Zhu stopped asking. Xue Mingdi became nervous and couldn't help but ponder over Han Zhu's words. Could it be that the Forbidden Lord was warning him that there was always someone stronger? It was very likely. He couldn't make decisions without permission in the future. He had to wait for the Forbidden Lord's arrangements. Yes, that's all. From now on, you will listen to Heavenly Emperor Fang until I give you a new order." Han Zhu canceled the dream. After returning to reality, Han Zhu no longer cared about the heavenly court. However, 18 years later, Han Zhu learned from the emails that Long Hao and Di Lantian had joined the heavenly court. The humans were in danger. They gathered the support of the Darkness Sect, the Azura race, the Dragon Court, the Human School, the Chan School, and other major factions. It could even be said that the Heavenly Court had reached an unprecedentedly powerful golden age. It was even stronger than the Demon Court that had swept through the immortal world. How much time had passed? Han Zhu was shocked by the power of the sages. However, Han Zhu had a feeling that the stronger the Heavenly Court was, the more likely they would be defeated. The battle of the immeasurable calamity could not be a crushing one. Either both sides were evenly matched, both sides injured each other, or the weaker side reversed the tide. The Heavenly Dao wanted a small number of people to survive, after all. I'll just be a member of the audience and watch them collapse. Hanju thought silently. The Heavenly Emperor was already gone and the current Heavenly Court was beginning to rise again. He had repaid the favor he owed. If not for his secret help, the Heavenly Court and the Heavenly Emperor would have been long gone. There was another goal now. Kill Jade Emperor Zhou Yan and save the Heavenly Emperor. Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and cursed Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Several days later, he continued cultivating. The Zenith Heaven realm was extremely difficult to cultivate. Hanju's Zenith Heaven Dao fruit was like a bottomless pit. When the negative karma in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus surged into it, the Dao fruit felt like it would never be filled. Hanju couldn't estimate when he would break through to the mid-stage golden immortal realm. The path of the great Dao was long-lasting. Time passed. While the hidden sect was cultivating in seclusion, the war between the humans and gods in the immortal world finally began. The human race had an extremely strong reproduction ability. In just a few decades, billions of people could appear. This was under the condition that the human race was constantly fighting. The humans of the immortal world had an extremely huge population, let alone the humans of the myriad worlds. They were the protagonists of the Heavenly Dao. Facing the powerful Heavenly Court, the humans were first attacked and defeated, but the characteristics of the humans were also displayed. They would never give up. The more humans lost, the more united they became. The cultivators from the other mortal worlds rushed to the immortal world to provide assistance. A world-shattering battle was brewing. About 30 years passed. Hanju walked out of the cave abode and prepared to preach the Tao to the hidden sect disciples. Lu Huashu suddenly came in front of him and bowed. Grandmaster, the Divine Investiture Board is summoning me. What do you think I should do? Hanju said, Don't go. You'll die. Lu Huashu's eyelids twitched. Although he had already awakened the memories of the Purple Star Emperor, his reverence for Hanju deepened. Because like the others, he felt that Hanju might be the reincarnation of the Dao ancestor. Looking at the hidden sect disciples, they could all form a huge faction. Previously, the Heavenly Court only had 5 Zenith Heavens. The 4 extreme emperors had not been in the Heavenly Court for a long time, and there were already 3 in the hidden sect. Lu Bu and Ma Chao were both manifestations of Zhu Tu. One had to know that Zhu Tu alone could fight against the 4 extreme emperors. Everyone, sit down and prepare to listen. Hanju walked around Lu Huashu and sat in front of the Fusong tree. After everyone was ready, he began to preach. Hanju also didn't want to stay in the dark forbidden zone. After the calamity ended, he would still go to the immortal world. However, before that, he had to make the hidden sect stronger. This way, he could cultivate in peace and let his disciples protect the hidden sect. Apart from the hidden sect, the reroll world was also becoming stronger. One day, the reroll world would surpass the mortal world and become a great world. Hanju was also looking forward to that day. The white-robed Buddha's cultivation level increased quite quickly, and he had already reached the rank 3 Immortal Emperor realm. It was all thanks to the reroll world's providence. 7 years later, Hanju ended the lecture. This time, he did not return to the cave abode directly. Instead, he waited for the disciples to awaken. A year later, all the disciples woke up and saw that Hanju was still around. They continued to wait for him to speak. Hanju said, The true battle of this calamity is about to begin. The battle between the humans and the Heavenly Court. Everyone was stunned. Murongchi asked in surprise, Where's the Divine Palace? Where's the Buddhist sect? Where's the Demon Court? Tu Linger added, What about the Golden Crow Divine Clan? At the mention of the Golden Crow Divine Clan, Jiang Yi's expression became unnatural. Could it be that the Golden Crow Divine Clan was already gone? Chu Shiren pinched his fingers to deduce and his expression changed drastically. Sun Chang'an noticed his expression and asked, What did you deduce? Sun Chang'an still couldn't change his attitude. He always cared about Chu Shiren. After all, He was born in the Buddhist sect and Chu Shuren was a Buddha. All the major powers have joined the heavenly court to suppress the humans. Someone wants to overthrow the identity of the humans as the protagonist under the heavenly Tao. What a move! Chu Shuren's expression was ugly. He was the supreme Buddha whose philosophy was to make peace for all living beings. His Buddhist way focused on humans, so he naturally did not want the humans to be slaughtered. When the disciples heard that, they were all shocked. How could the heavenly court be so powerful? Hanju said, "Do you see? This is the immeasurable calamity. This is fate. The once high-spirited and insufferably arrogant behemoths can all become stepping stones. The hidden sect does not fight for providence or power. What we fight for is the great Tao. Cultivate well and don't think about going out. After the immeasurable calamity ends, we will return to the immortal world." The chaotic heavenly dog shouted, "We still have to go back? Why can't we stay here?" The black hell chicken flapped its wings and scolded, "How dare you refute Master's will?" The other's eyes lit up. Not everyone wanted to stay away from the world. Cultivation was sometimes only for the sake of being superior to others. Before this calamity ends, I hope that all of you can reach the Emperor realm. Can you do that? Hanju asked. All immortal emperors. This goal made everyone excited. Even if it was a major force in the immortal world, there were not many immortal emperors. Definitely, Lu Huashu said in high spirits. The others agreed. The Black Hell Demon Lord, Diamond Rage, and Jiang Yi looked at each other in shock. They felt Hanju's ambitions. Could it be that he was plotting for the next calamity? It was very likely. Wasn't this the path of the previous Divine Palace? The Divine Palace had risen after the calamity ended. Taking advantage of the chaos in the world and the fact that order had yet to be rebuilt, it had appeared in one go and widely accepted geniuses, rising step by step. Hanju smiled in satisfaction and returned to the Khanate cave abode. The strange deity pounced over. Hanju waved his hand and gestured for it to scram. VSETN Liu, VLBIN. For the best novel reading experience, the strange deity seemed to be very anxious and kept rebuking him. Hanju frowned and immediately checked the powerful enemies around the Dao field. There were no powerful enemies. What was going on? At this moment, the strange deity suddenly entered Hanju's body, and a huge memory surged into his mind. It was a distant memory. It was a misty void. Violent winds wreaked havoc in all directions. In Hanju's vision, the clouds parted and he saw a majestic figure. It was even larger than the primordial Yuan Phoenix he had seen before. Even Hanju, a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this figure. Too huge to describe. For some reason, Hanju inexplicably thought of the legendary Pangu who split open the sky. Giant god Pangu? Why did the strange god let him see this memory? At this moment, Hanju suddenly felt a terrifying gaze land on him. Although he didn't see that gaze, he could feel the pressure. It was a pressure that made his soul tremble. Hanju's gaze pierced through the layers of chaotic clouds and saw a pair of eyes. These eyes were like the eyes of a human. They were extremely indifferent, as if they had no emotions. Boom! Hanju's consciousness exploded. Unconsciously, he witnessed a huge battle. Countless terrifying figures rushed towards the largest and most majestic figure like moths to a flame. That majestic figure stood on the lotus throne and held a huge axe. A dazzling light shone above his head, and his divine might was vast. It made Hanju shiver. What kind of spirit was this? It was indescribable. Hanju didn't see the end of this battle. When he came back to his senses, it was still the chaotic void, but the mighty figure in front of him was already gone. The heavenly Tao is like a dream. Everything is like a phantom. Mortal, jump out of this fabrication as soon as possible. Only then are you truly alive. A vast voice sounded in Hanju's ears. It was air. Hanju was stunned. What did he mean? Immediately after, this memory scene shattered. Hanju realized that when he returned to reality, the strange deity was floating in front of him. Hanju asked in his heart, "Who spoke just now?" 100 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? 100 billion years? Hanju was shocked. With such a high cost, what kind of existence was he? He had to calculate. Continue. The karma is too great. It involves a realm that the system cannot reach at the moment. It cannot be deduced. The price of lifespan will be refunded. So ridiculous? Hanju was shocked. The system could even deduce the Tao ancestor. Was this fellow even more powerful than him? Could it really be the giant god Pangu? Hanju asked, "Currently, other than the hidden sect, who knows my exact location? 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue?" Continue. Not exposed for the time being. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. That was good. To prevent any accidents, he still controlled Hidden Sect Island to move away from this place. An hour later, he stopped and looked at the strange deity. Why could the strange deity bring him such a memory? Check out LT SDVL on NOVL bin. CM, could the previous scene be the chaotic fiend celestial war during the chaotic era? The strange deity seemed to have forgotten what had happened and began to wander around again. Hanju thought for a while and continued cultivating. To put it bluntly, his cultivation realm was too low and he could not see through everything. Immortal world, beside the heavenly river. Fang Liang stood above the clouds with his hands behind his back. He had a dignified expression. Beside him stood an immortal who looked identical to him. After so many years, Fang Liang had completely become the heavenly emperor. His eyes were dignified and he was extremely shrewd. The divine general suddenly appeared beside him. He glanced at the immortal god beside Fang Liang and looked at him. He cupped his fists and said, "Your Majesty, the Jiang family of the human school has chosen to support the human race. Jiang Dugu has returned. He brought the primordial Yuan Phoenix and devoured 100,000 heavenly troops. The heavenly court has suffered heavy losses." Fang Liang narrowed his eyes and asked, "Does Li Daokong know about Jiang Dugu?" The divine general replied, "Li Daokong has already gone to fight him." Fang Liang fell into deep thought. After a long time, Fang Liang said, "Send the immortals to the extreme north to invite the Fang family." Fang clan? The divine general was stunned and asked in surprise, "Are you related to the Fang family?" Fang Liang nodded slightly. The divine general was secretly shocked. So the heavenly emperor chose Fang Liang because of this. He immediately accepted the order and left. Fang Liang turned to look at the immortal god beside him and muttered, "This battle will depend on your divine power." This immortal god who looked identical to Fang Liang did not change his expression. He was like a puppet. Time passed quickly. 20 years passed quickly. Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune again and cursed Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. At the same time, he checked his emails. Your good friend Jiang Dugu has joined the human race. His providence has transformed. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by a human cultivator, X170098. Your good friend Ji Xianshan was attacked by human cultivators, X390221. Your good friend Pen Xin has joined the human race. His providence has transformed. Your good friend Jiang Dugu was attacked by your good friend Li Daokong. Your good friend Han Ming was attacked by your good friend Pen Xin and was severely injured. Your good friend Mo Fuzhou was attacked by your good friend Pen Xin and was severely injured. Jiang Dugu and Pen Xin joined the human race? Very powerful. Looking down, Pan Xin clearly used a huge move and severely injured Hanju's friends. Why would this coward enter the calamity? They were all taking sides. Hanju was very curious about the battle in the immortal world. I want to know, which race will win this calamity? Hanju asked silently in his heart. 5 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Heavenly Court. Hanju's eyelids twitched. Would the humans be wiped out? Hanju felt that his morals had been shattered. His subconscious still treated him as a human, so he always felt that the human race would definitely survive. Hanju asked, what will happen to the human race? They will be extinct. All living beings born as humans must die, including the human immortals. This time, his lifespan was not deducted. It should be related to the previous deduction. Extinction, including all the human immortals. Hanju frowned. What was going on? Will I die after the calamity ends? 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Not for the time being. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that only the humans in the immortal world would die. What should he do now? Hanju decided to visit Xing Hongxian in her dreams and tell her to return. He immediately used his mystical power and pulled Xing Hongxian into the dream. Above the clouds, the two met. Xing Hongxian didn't look good and didn't pounce on him. Hanju frowned. What happened? Could it be that it was inconvenient for Xing Hongxian to enter the dreams now? A figure appeared beside Xing Hongxian. It was a woman who looked identical to Dao Comprehension Sword. Tai Sutian. Crap. I screwed up. The next time he visited, he had to deduce the other party's situation. Hanju cursed himself for being careless. Tai Sutian stared at Hanju and said, please save the humans. Save the human race? Hanju said helplessly, the human race needs me to save them? Tai Sutian replied, yes. 6 of the 9 heavenly Dao sages chose to support the heavenly court and eradicate the human race. Only Sage Muo and Sage Fushi chose to protect the human race. Heavenly Emperor Feng of the heavenly court is your grand disciple. Although your karma is small, you are closely related to many people facing the calamity. Perhaps you can reverse the situation. Hanju said, but my cultivation isn't good enough. I heard from the sages that you are at least at the deity realm. Hearing this, Hanju secretly felt that something was wrong. Sage Muo was staring at him. The human race was a deep pit. Hanju didn't want to enter rashly. Even if he helped the human race, he couldn't help openly lest he provoked great karma. Tai Sutian continued, if the humans can survive this calamity, the sages will give you a huge opportunity that contains the method to attain the Tao. Tao attainment method. What was attaining the Tao? Wasn't it to become a sage? Hanju asked in surprise, aren't there only 9 sages? Tai Sutian replied, Sage Muo will give up her position as a heavenly Tao sage. This matter had always been a thorn in Hanju's heart, making him unable to completely trust Muo Imperial Palace's sage. Moreover, he didn't want to become a heavenly Tao sage. The 9 heavenly Tao sages were obviously puppets of the heavenly Tao. Otherwise, there wouldn't be existences like Transcendent Tao Expert, Eternal Divine Spirit, Great Tao Divine Spirit, and so on. Hanju couldn't reference the novels and legends he had read in the past. After all, 10 immeasurable calamities had already appeared since the establishment of the heavenly Tao. Countless experts were born. Anyway, he couldn't agree. Hanju said in a low voice, this is very important. I have to consider it. Tai Sutian nodded and said, that's true. Tell me through Xing Hongxian whenever you decide. The two of them fell silent, not knowing what to say. Hanju coughed and said, can I talk to my wife alone? Xing Hongxian was overjoyed. The title of wife made her extremely happy. Tai Sutian hurriedly disappeared and did not say much. Hanju asked in his heart, will the dream realm be spied on by a third person? This mystical power is a great Tao mystical power. Only by entering a dream or reaching the great Tao level can one spy on it. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. He asked, what do you think of what she said just now? Xing Hongxian looked around and sent a voice transmission, not reliable. Hanju didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This girl had also become cautious and was even transmitting her voice in the dream. Hanju sent a voice transmission, then, hurry up and come back. How? Where to find you? Go to the void. I'll think of a way to find you. Alright. Don't alert the enemy. Find an opportunity and excuse to leave Taisu Tian's sight. Don't worry, I'm familiar with this. After discussing, the two of them began to ask each other questions out loud, as if someone was really spying on them. After returning to reality, Hanju frowned. He couldn't visit anyone in their dreams so casually anymore. A sage could scheme against him at any time. Fortunately, it was only Taisu Tian. If it was a sage, Hanju wouldn't be able to decline. Will this calamity end up as a sage war? Hanju muttered in his heart. If that was really the case, the immortal world would be finished. Could the next immortal world be the Nine Nether Purgatory? The more Hanju thought about it, the more likely he thought it was. The Nine Nether Purgatory had already become a place for many factions and living beings to avoid the calamity. The sages only needed to pour out the negative karma in the Nine Nether Purgatory and it would become a world of its own. Hanju shivered and stopped thinking about it. He should cultivate quietly. In the following period of time, friends joined the humans or heavenly court from time to time. 20 years later, other than the people from the hidden sect, all Hanju's good friends had taken sides. They were all in the human and heavenly court factions. After lining up, it was time for the battle. Hanju cursed silently. Didn't they say that the calamity would last for 10,000 years? Or at most 1,000,000 years? It shouldn't affect the Dark Forbidden Zone, right? Hanju had no choice but to use the derivation function to ask. 2 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. No. Alright. It didn't even say for the time being. Hanju was relieved and felt like he had just survived a calamity. He took out the Book of Misfortune and started cursing while checking his emails. He suddenly saw an email. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor was possessed by an inferior strange deity. His soul was suppressed. Hanju was furious. He still remembered that the inferior strange deity was picked up by a person called Great Nine Heavens. This fellow was a pseudo-sage. Could it be that the mysterious mighty figure who had always helped Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was Great Nine Heavens? He's asking to get killed. Hanju couldn't tolerate it. Before he grew up, the Heavenly Emperor had always helped him. He would give him whatever he wanted. How could he let the Heavenly Emperor endure such humiliation? He would first give Jade Emperor Zhou Yan the treatment of 200 billion years of lifespan. Then, he would give Great Nine Heavens 300 billion years of lifespan. A mere 500 billion years of lifespan was nothing to Hanju, who had a lifespan of 10 quintillion years. He had more than enough. 5 days later, Hanju's lifespan began to decrease. He stared at the attributes panel. 100 billion years of lifespan was consumed very quickly. In a mysterious hall, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan sat on the ground with an extremely ugly expression. Great Nine Heavens and the Heavenly Emperor stood at the side. The Heavenly Emperor was in a strange state. His eyes were black and his hair was white. He was like a puppet. Great Nine Heavens circled around the Heavenly Emperor. It was unknown what he was thinking, but he nodded from time to time. At this moment, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan suddenly opened his eyes and roared, "Save me!" Boom! He spat out a mouthful of golden blood, burning a huge hole in the ground. Great Nine Heavens turned to look at him with a frown. He looked annoyed. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had been cursed more than once and needed his help every time. Great Nine Heavens wished that this fellow would just die. This useless dog. Great Nine Heavens cursed in his heart, but he still came behind Jade Emperor Zhou Yan to heal him. Soon, Great Nine Heavens' expression changed. What a powerful curse! He could clearly sense the other party's anger. The curse power was like a stormy sea, as if it wanted to drown Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Oh no! the Dark Forbidden Lord wanted to curse Jade Emperor Zhou Yan to death. Although it was very difficult for Jade Emperor Zhou Yan to be cursed to death, at this rate, his Dao fruit would become unstable and his cultivation would definitely decline. He might even suffer from Qi deviation and become a heavenly devil. Great Nine Heavens tried his best to help. However, the curse power was still increasing. He couldn't block it. Crap! Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was doomed. Great Nine Heavens' expression was extremely ugly. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan suddenly looked up and roared, "Ah!" This roar spread throughout the myriad worlds. Everyone could hear the hatred in his tone. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's body exploded and his soul turned into a black mist. Great Nine Heavens' expression changed drastically. Devil Qi! How is that possible? Then, his expression turned furious. This fellow actually sought refuge with the devil ancestor. He's asking to get killed. The black mist that Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had transformed into suddenly rushed towards Great Nine Heavens. He roared, "Even if I die, I will drag you down with me. Great Nine Heavens! You will die a horrible death." Great Nine Heavens cursed this fellow for being crazy as he raised his hand to block. "Because of your curse, your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had his body destroyed and his soul devoured by the devil ancestor." Seeing this email, Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. This time, he went overboard. He had actually used up 300 billion years of his lifespan. The hand holding the Book of Misfortune was trembling. How extravagant! Heavenly Emperor, I've really tried my best. Hanju's eyes became sharp. It was not over. Next was Great Nine Heavens. But before that, Hanju had to rest. Several days later, Hanju held the Book of Misfortune again and cursed Great Nine Heavens. On the other side, Great Nine Heavens had just ended the battle and expelled Jade Emperor Zhou Yan from the hall. He was meditating to heal his injuries when he felt a powerful curse. His expression darkened. The damned Dark Forbidden Lord had targeted him.